All right, it's Pasha Paro, YNet7. Thank you for tuning in to replay. Today we have RC on the line. I'm going to let her go ahead and introduce herself. Rhonda, tell them a little bit about yourself and who you are.
I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. Rhonda Colvin, a student of metaphysics. I'm very interested in numerology, astrology, and just have a lot of questions and think a lot about the things that we've been programmed to believe. And I like research, information.
All right, awesome. So we've been chatting on, responding to each other's comments on some groups on Facebook, and I really like your perspectives, and I think you liked a couple of mine. I'll say without tooting my own horn, and I think the benefit of us having the conversation is it gets a good reflection of, let's say you said you're in Cincinnati, Ohio, and just the mindset. One, what we get to do is we're able to show people how, even though there's distance between them, how similar they are. They have the same issues and problems, and as well as the same opportunities. So today, what we're going to talk about is your quote here: attention and intention are the mechanics of manifestation. True?
That's right.
Okay, so go ahead and tell me what spawned that idea for you.
Well, there's been a movement. Anytime you go on YouTube, anytime you look at any type of Facebook feed, everybody's talking about uh, the law of attraction, manifesting. Um, so I've just been pretty much trying to reprogram myself and figure out ways to manifest. And not necessarily money, because a lot of people, that's their focus on manifesting money, but just reprogramming everything that we've been taught, everything that we've been fed, um, just to better myself, go within, um, connect with my higher mind, my higher self, so that basically I can ascend and be the best person that I came here on this planet to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. I respect that. So what we're gonna do, right, is we're gonna look at some of the words, okay? Because the way I view words when I leverage the law of attraction is, you probably are familiar with they're like, we might say it differently. People say it differently, but sometimes they're saying the same thing. But they're basically spells, right? Would you agree with that?
Words.
Yes.
I was just when I was thinking about this conversation today, um, and when you think about the power of words, first you have to have, and it sent me back to, of course, the Old Testament. Well, actually, it's the New Testament, John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God.
The Numa.
So words are powerful. Thoughts, you have to have a thought before you can create anything. So you have thought, you also have to speak it into existence, but you also, which words is a vibration.
Right.
Thoughts send out a vibration. Just like when doctors want to check your brain waves, they do something called an EEG. So it's all about vibration, and that's one of the seven hermetic principles. So first of all, in order to change anything, you have to have a thought. And I know we don't like the word believe, but you know what I mean. I'm gonna just use that for a lack of better words. You
I'm with
have to
you.
also what you're thinking in order to change your thought process, and you have to also feel it. So you have to activate all of those chakras. Thought is the crown chakra. Then also use your voice and say, I am. Or not I'm going to, I am. This is who I am. So also using your voice, that vibration to help to manifest and feel it. So
Right.
that's the heart chakra. So I just been doing a lot of studying. Uh, like I said, I'm not, like you said the other day, I'm not an authority on anything. Uh, I just like to research it, just to try and get a better understanding of, you know, who I am, what I was sent here to do. 'Cause I know I wasn't sent here just to, do a bunch of time, you know, and just make, make else
Hold on, we didn't catch the last part there.
to find.
It, all right, we didn't catch the last part there. The signal a little choppy.
I might have to relocate. Yeah, we
That's
have a
cool.
higher purpose than just being here, have a higher purpose to tap into and find out what our purpose is of being here on the planet. Definitely. So that's why into, metaphysics. I like the law of attraction. Been programmed, to earth what we've been taught. So at the end of the day, you have to who can benefit.
Right, I
And
agree.
just a lot of the things that we've been taught, you know, handed out in this so-called areas, because when you think about Aquarius is an air sign, and it's about thought,
Okay, hold on,
and it's
RC.
also
We
about
we losing
uh
you if you can hear me. So you go ahead and slide a little.
I'm going in the other room.
Okay, you slide that way.
Let me go inside. I'm gonna go inside because I think we'll have a better connection.
Okay.
Um, am I good
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, you good now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, just it's just a whole lot of things, as people that we need to rethink. So as a
Hmm.
man thinketh, so is he.
I like
So
that.
if you think that you're powerless, that's what you're gonna be.
Right.
But if you think that you're powerful, that's what you will be.
Exactly.
So it's about reprogramming everything that has been put into us, because somebody is basically gaining from us, feeling like we're in a position of inferiority.
Right.
So
Now, now when you say that, right? Let me ask you this question: do
mhm.
you think that that's just? Do you think that that group of people that feel like that that the others are inferior? Do you think that's isolated to just certain groups of people, or like all groups of people based on? Is it more profound of a statement, or is it more applied of a statement to any one group, or is it to all groups based on the fact of, like you're saying, there it's a mental thing, connection with the words, and then you know what I'm saying? Do you think it's a targeted one group, or do you think that they're actually using this as a weapon for all groups of people?
I think it's a weapon for all groups, and they
Right,
just feed everybody a certain program. You know what I mean?
right,
Um, they'll feed one group of people this information, and they'll feed another group of people this information, and it's all disinformation.
right. There is no favoritisms in it. So let's take a look at what these words are actually vibrating as. So we have here attention, which comes from a 10, right? And it's saying that basically what we're getting is to observe, consider, pay attention in like the earliest forms, right? And then
Hmm.
that's a 10, and then attention tells you that basically it comes from the word attend, so you kind of know the ION and all that good stuff on the end just makes it into the noun form, etc. So what I thought was interesting is that a 10 was referring to observe, consider, pay attention. So a 10 is like the the onlooker, or the it's already in motion, it's already happening, etc., right? So it already exists because then you're observing it, you're considering it, you know of it. Even if you've never seen it before, you might know of it, etc. So you can pay attention to that because it's already in existence. So let's look at your quote. Attention, right, and intention, right, are the mechanics of manifestation. So then when we go to intention, which stems from intend, right? So we have so intention is coming here it says the purpose, right? So intention is your purpose, and that connects with what you're saying a few moments ago, where the thought must come first. Okay? So once someone has a thought, now others can give it attention or attend to that thought. Right? So the intention comes first, which is what you're saying. Then the attention to it, or the consideration of that thought can tell us how, things we never thought of pop into our mind as ways to make things happen. And this is where you get innovation and invention, right? Correct. So what that right there alone says tons, because when you talk to people about words, have you had the experience where maybe you're talking to them about maybe a word doesn't mean what we think it means today, and they're saying, oh no, that's what it used to mean, we don't use it for that anymore. And see, this kind of settles that. This right here could be the authority for that, because it's basically telling you that when someone put the intention to it, when they created the word gave the word its purpose. Just like in math, I always tell people the letters are representation for numbers. So when you do math and you take out the multiplication sign and you just write the letters together, X, Y, T, Z, that's a mathematical multiplication equation, right? So the letters put together in what we call a word, I see as an equation, which is why you're talking about frequencies, or what enables you to mention it or recall it as frequencies, because everything that we graph is really some sort of frequency, and we're looking at a portion of the graph, right? So that means that someone assigned the intention to it, which gave the word purpose in the construct. Then we can give it attention. Now the danger is when you're getting into, whatever we put, like whatever we think it is, right? You said we gotta believe. You use the word believe, right? And that kind of that's the actual the hook, line, and sinker for it, because if you believe in something that's not true about the word, then you have giving yourself, your intention may be right, but what's going to attend to your call is going to be in the true form of the vibration of the word. You see what I'm saying? Because like attracts like. So what we're doing is we're saying 5 plus 5 is 10, but we're saying 5 plus 5 is 12 today because we think it's cooler, and we're wondering why we still get 10 showing up. So it's very important that we as a collective actually take time to see what the actual true vibration of the word is. So that's just in the first part of your quote there. What do you have to say? I know you mentioned it, and I'm just reassuring what you're saying. And then I wanted to touch on the belief part and see why we got to go one step beyond belief to knowledge of. We got to push ourselves that extra step, because it'll bring total clarity.
That's facts. Like we were just saying, that words are spells. So if you don't know the true meaning of the word, then basically you still spellbound.
Right.
And in order to break the spell, you will have to know what's really real, what the real meaning is, what the whole purpose of the word is.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Awesome. Because if you're cooking and you grab the white powder, you thinking it's sugar, it could be sugar. You might be right. You might get it right. It could be baking soda. It could be flour. It could be cocaine. Now you hooked on something all because you ain't know what you grabbing. You know what I'm saying? So that's the danger in that. Now let's look at mechanics, right? So mechanics is talking about, when it said mechanic by itself in singular form as of 1562, it was talking about engineer, pertaining to mechanics or contrivances, which is basically just a construct when you put something together and it operates like a system or a car. That contrivance. So if we go back, adjective use, and then it comes from something from 1393. Okay, so but really it's the engineer, an engineer. You know what I mean? So you would be able to consider yourself the engineer of your own life and destiny. Like you're your own creator of your own life experience, as long as you have proper knowledge of your tools, right?
Right.
Because the mechanic can show up. How many times, I don't know where you work, or a car you take it on, sometimes the mechanic can't do the right job sometimes if they don't have the right tools, correct?
That's right.
They can know about it all they want to. They can put all the attention, right? They can give it all the attention they want, but without the proper tools, the mechanic just as useful as you and I. We don't know nothing about it, right?
Right.
Okay. So the intent is the purpose. So when you come with the intention, you might come and scout, right? You might come and scout it out and say, hey, let me look into this. Okay, let me check this out. Okay, okay, it's either this or that. All right, I'm going to be right back. I know I'm going to need certain X, Y, and Z tools. So you came and scouted with the intention to find out, right? Because it already existed. The problem, the car is there, it has a problem, let's say. You come in, you bring it in, they're going to attend to it by observing or considering what the problems might be. Because the purpose is to fix it. They know that they don't need to bring all of their tools, right?
Right.
Now they come and attend and observe to it, consider it, what they need, and they go back and get only what they need to make it. That's the most efficient, right?
That's right.
Okay. So let's take a look at your thing here. So attention and intention are the mechanics. So if they are the mechanics, you have to know the difference and what you're actually getting when you're attending, which is observing, considering, and paying attention to, like we would normally say. All right. So we have to truly be well versed in attending, because that is what we do with stuff that's already in this realm, in this field, already in existence. The other tool we need to know is purpose, which is your intention. And that's where it's tricky, because you got to know what you're saying up front. Okay, so let's take a look here. Attention and intention are the mechanics of manifestation. Now, with that on the table, we just went over. Tell me if you expect any. Tell me what your expectations of manifestation is now, based on the breakdown of the words.
You know what? That was very insightful, because I did not really, when you broke down the mechanics, like you said, you have to have the tools in order to implement whatever you're trying to manifest. So that's deep right there. That's deep.
Word.
So, and you have to attend to it. First, you got to be aware of it, first and foremost.
Yep.
And then you have to have also the proper, when you say it's, but see, when you attend to something, it also means that you put a lot of energy into that. You're going to basically research, uncover whatever you're attending to, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And that's where it has here, like we go over the definition a little further. Consider. See, like when you go to training, right? Like we ain't got to talk about what we do, in our volunteer slavery positions, right? In our jobs, right? But right. You only are able to do. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I could probably safely assume, which I don't normally do, but I could probably safely assume that you're only able to do, if something you do at your work takes you a half an hour to do it, you're only able to do it in those 30 minutes because you took maybe 15 years to master it to the point that allows you to be able to do it in 30 minutes today, correct?
That's right.
So see, that's where it's saying you've already observed. That's called experience. See, you've already considered. That's part of your experience. All the different ways you face the same problem, and it looked differently in the beginning, and you realize, well, this is all I gotta do for that. I might gotta do a little bit more when it's like this, a little bit less when it's like that. But you've already considered what it takes to remedy those problems that you face at your job or on your daily basis, because you have the experience built into you. So you've already attended this in the past. You see? So it enables you to cut down your attention needed to this amount of time, where somebody that's attending it for the first time might need this much space on their calendar to accomplish the same thing.
That's right.
So
That's
if we,
facts.
thank you. So if we all take the time, whatever it is, some people may learn faster, some people may need more time to learn the same stuff. Some people may be visual, some people may need to read, whatever it is. But if we all put in the work, we can all master the mechanics. We can all see the attention is what we need when it's up and running. The intention is what we need to create, and then they are the mechanics. So if you want to call your mechanics, they're only going to be as experienced as we allow them to be. That's up to us, right?
Right.
So you've already put in the work, you already put in the time and effort, and that's why when the example we talked about earlier, the mechanics can show up, look at the problem, say, okay, it's either going to be 1, 2, maybe 3 things. All right, I'll be back. I'm going to need at most 5 tools. I'll be right back. Instead of bringing the whole 6,000 tool chest, which will be, you know what I mean? They can go back and get the 5 they need because of their experience. All right, so let's look at manifestation. So manifestation it comes from the Old French, right? It's borrowed through the Old French manifesti, and it basically means caught in the act, plainly apprehensible. So think about what we, yeah,
Plainly.
caught in the act from Manu Festus. Caught in the act, plainly apprehensible.
Plainly apprehensible.
Yeah. So how does that scrap? So for a minute, depart from what we were just going over and let's just focus solely on manifest. Caught in the act, plainly apprehensible. Manifest. Caught in the act, plainly apprehensible. Tell me, I don't know if you've heard, because this is etymology, which is a little different than if you pick up today's Webster. That's the slang of the language for today. So I don't know if you've heard it presented like that before, but what does that now do for you for the word manifestation? If you look at manifest as caught in the act, plainly apprehensible, tell me what that vibrates in you, and then I'll tell you how it vibrates in me.
Caught in the act.
Plainly
apprehensible.
So before this, 5 minutes ago, what would you have said manifest means?
What I would have said that manifest is bringing something into existence.
Bringing something into existence. I like that. Okay, now go ahead. Now tell me now, looking at the real meaning, the original intention, right? Caught in the act, plainly apprehensible. Don't think about how it may sound different. Tell me how you hear that it sounds similar. So, and I'll give you this. It's from manus, which is hand, right? And festus, which is able to be or seized. So hand seized.
Right. So
you said man, bring into existence. Is it?
It's something that's tangible, plainly apprehensible. Okay, how about the word apprehensible?
Apprehensible? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, hold on. I like that. Researcher. See, that's a true researcher for you. Give me a second. I'm going to look it up.
Okay. Because when I think about apprehensible, I think about like apprehend, like basically catch somebody, catch something.
Okay, I got you right here. So Apprehend, what you write onto it, was originally grasp mentally. Comprehend. And then perhaps borrowed perhaps through Old French, apprehender, or directly from Latin, apprehender with an e on the end of the r, take hold of or grasp. So see, manus from manus, which is hand, and festus, which is seized, hand seized, right? Your hand seized it, like bam, hand seized. You got it in your hand, right? That's kind of like what you were saying about to make tangible. Now, if I quoted you correctly, you were saying originally to bring into existence, right? Okay. So, grasp mentally, comprehend. So, caught in the act or plainly grasped mentally or plainly comprehended. Manifests.
Right. So we know that what we've been told is that if you can see it in your mind's eye, and basically if you can feel that and imagine that it's something that's real or tangible, that it can manifest, that it
Yes.
can be within your grasp, it can be brought down into the physical realm.
Yes. So, I absolutely agree with you. Let me show you how this pulls together, right? From my perspective, based on what you're saying. You just clarified it in the last bring down to this realm, basically, right? So when you said bring into existence, all right, I like that because what that's saying to me, if I was to just think about that for a second, is that means I would ask, well, where did it come from? Where was it before this existence that I'm in? You see? In your mind right now, you're probably focused on this conversation. You have a very elegant mirror behind you and a nice spatial environment there that you're in. So you have some environmental inputs, right? That's focused on right now. But watch this. Take a moment, you and everybody that may be watching this at this moment, and think about the house you grew up in. What's your favorite memory of that? You know, walking through the yard or walking through the hallway to the kitchen. You can see that with great clarity, can't you? Right now, as you're sitting there in a totally different time and space, you can see that. My question is, where was that full-fledged VR submersed in that environment and reality? As you can walk through it in your mind, you can see it, you can almost touch, you can almost smell grandma's, apple pie, whatever, right? Where was that where was those frequencies, that energy, that whole environment, where was that at 5 minutes ago? If you can see it so clearly and almost smell and taste the aromas and sensations and feel the excitement of maybe you're running out back in the sun and the swing in the tree or something. I don't know. Whatever it is for you individually. Where was that living? Where was that vibe, that memory, if we want to call it in such clarity and definition? Where was that living 5 minutes ago?
It was already there. You just had to recall that.
Yes. Go ahead. Keep going.
You just had to tap into that. It's always been there. You just have to, what's the word? Like I said, you just have to recall that, because the memory's there. Everything has already been there. It's already there. You might not be aware that it's there, but everything in the universe has already been here.
Right.
You just have to become aware of it.
Exactly. And that's manifest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's plainly apprehensible. You clearly grasp it mentally, it's manifestus, which is hand seized, right? So just like anything that you can give your attention to, by definition, when we look at it, you're observing it, so that means that it's already in existence. So your intention, your purpose must be to call it into your existence.
That's right.
Okay? Then to do that most efficiently, you have to have, like you said, all of the knowledge of mechanics already exists. You just got to give it your attention with the purpose of mastering it so that you can be good enough at some point, or, better, right, to manifest it. True?
True.
To bring it into your mind. So you're bringing the knowledge of mechanics, you're grasping that mentally. You're comprehending that so that then you can take the mechanics and put them to work to manifest in your reality. Because everything we want is already there. The question is, what are we giving our attention to?
Wow. And that's the whole thing. What are we giving our attention to? Because we have so many distractions that I always ask myself, is this intentional? Because the things that deflect away from us looking within to see what's really going on. It's a lot of things that have been thrown at us to keep you from looking within.
Absolutely.
I mean, we got a myriad of things going on, entertainment. I'm not gonna go. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that keep us distracted.
Yeah. The world is all the stage, right?
So exactly. So that and I don't like to sound like a conspiracist, but a lot of the things that are distracting us are keeping us from seeing what's really going on beneath the surface. Because while we're distracted with a lot of things, the people that are in power are basically doing what they want to do to further, keep us where they want us to be.
Now, do you blame them for that? Is it their fault? That how do you feel about that?
Is it their fault? I'm not gonna even say fault, because people are who they are. So I can't really say fault, but yeah, that's what I was trying to burn my little sage earlier that was down in the basement.
Right.
Fault. I won't say fault, because it's we have to wake up, and then it's not for everybody. Everything is not for everybody. Everybody has their own path. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has their own time for whatever it may be, and it might not be in this lifetime. It might be in the next lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody doesn't have the same goals, the same agenda either.
So, with that, right, it goes back to an old Roman maxim of law, if you ask me, right? And that Roman maxim of law says, "Let those who wish to be deceived be."
Yeah. For some, ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss. So when you find out that what you learned in school isn't actually necessarily maybe true, right? But it was popular and that's what they wanted to teach you, people will get mad at you for offering them insight into something else instead of considering the fact that the teacher that they had actually gave them some wrong information and they believed it. So you see the danger of belief?
Right.
All right.
And there's willful ignorance to me, and unintentional ignorance. Like it's, the teacher taught you because they didn't know any better. Also,
Right.
like a lot of us, parents taught you certain things because that's what their parents taught them and their parents taught them. They didn't know any better. But yet and still they taught you something that was not the truth. So in this day and age, in this era of technology, you know, it's really no excuse to be ignorant. If you want to know, if you want to know the truth is out there. You have to be willing to go find, seek it out.
That's the key. If you want to know, what is your intent? Go back to your quote. Now let's read your quote, right? Because we were looking at a picture that had the magnets, around the head, attracting all this stuff. Because whatever we focus on, we attract. That's the simplistic, law of attraction, right? So
Yeah.
when you're using this as intention and attention and mechanics, you're working, you're engineering. That's how you're able to engineer. You're broadcasting a signal like attracts like, and you're attracting a similar signal. So let's go back to your quote here. Attention and intention are the mechanics of manifestation. People are going to click, or people are going to engage with that or disengage with that for various different reasons, because they're going to have beliefs on what that actually says. But we've seen here, we just went over what it actually means. So now tell me about, from your perspective, how not comprehending what this actually means, how much of a difference could that make in one's life versus comprehending it? Think about where you were yesterday with this same thought, and the clarity, the icing on the cake that we gave today to give it sharpness, to make it more defined, and run down the spectrum of how you feel about it.
When we say mechanics,
Mm-hmm.
tools, you have to have tools. You have to have whatever it may be to make it happen. Also, because you can have a thought about something, but this is like if I say, okay, I think I'm gonna win the lotto. That may not be tangible. That's something that may not happen. But also with the thought, you also have to have an action.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just sit there and think, okay, this is gonna fall in my lap from out of the sky. So you have to also put in the work to make it happen.
Like with the lotto, you would actually have to play the lotto in order to even have a chance to win.
Right.
You got to be in the game.
Right.
You got to at least get in the game to score the bucket, right?
Right.
So, go ahead. I feel you. Because there's a lot of people out there that want to score, but they not wanting to step in the game. They don't want to step on the proper field or the proper court, right?
Right. We got a lot of people out here that say, well, I'm going to trust in God. God is going to make it happen. Okay, that's all well and good, but also, whatever you believe, that's what you got a brain for. That's what the Creator gave you the brain for. The eyes to see, the ears to hear.
That's a great point.
And the hands, and also the hands to go out and do to make it happen.
The hand sees, right?
Right.
So
To see, to make it happen.
yeah. So look, right? So you said you gotta have the mind for it. You said God or El or Yahweh or the Most High, whoever it is, to whoever we talking to, right? Gave them the brain, the eyes, and the hands, right?
That's right.
So I get people that say that all the time too, and I'm like, it almost, there we go back to belief, right? I think that's a belief that you're not, that person may have the feeling that they weren't created perfectly. You see what I'm saying? Because if you are made in the perfection of the Most High or the Creator, however you want to look at it, like you're saying, He gave you, or she, however you want to view that too, he or she gave you the mechanics of manifestation built in. It was built into you. So you gotta go and fine tune, sharpen your skills, get your downloads, and just strengthen your software. But you're built with the platform to do this, right?
Yes.
So I don't know if you can see it because of the screen that you're on, but it's the picture here, and it has ask. It says law of attraction, creative cycle. You ask, and then it's got an arrow going up to answered, and then an arrow coming down says aloud, and then boom, like the little arrow coming back to you, I guess, which is receive. So if we go and look at the Most High interaction, right, between you and the Most High, it's actually spelling out how the law of attraction works. Scientifically, you hear it spoken about. We're talking about frequencies, energies. That's I consider that quantum physics. I consider that the science language, right? The religious people need to understand that they're saying the same thing too, just in a different language. Because I hear them arguing all the time. They debating who's right, but when you listen, they're saying the same thing. So
right.
It's simply put like this: what would you consider prayer to be to most people? What is actual prayer in its when you're attention state, not the purpose but the attention state? What is it actually? What are we observing someone do when they're praying?
Well, when most people pray, they're looking outside of themselves, supplicating to outside entity, asking for what they want, not realizing that you yourself are a creator. If you were made in the likeness of the creator, you are a creator as well. You're not the creator, but you're a creator too. So a lot of people, down on their knees, asking. Also, it was a thought.
There.
So we have to go back to that.
Bam.
Prayer was a thought, and some people pray out loud.
Mm-hmm.
So then you got the word. So those two together, that's powerful right there.
Right.
But like you said too, when you got the wrong words and you don't know what you're saying,
exactly,
then you're not gonna manifest what you're trying to you're not gonna manifest that, because first of all, your words wrong. So the frequency and the vibration is not gonna go out and bring that down into this realm.
At least not what you thinking. What you think.
Not what you thinking. Like they say, be careful what you ask for.
Exactly. Now see, that's the key right there. Prayer is focused thought. And what we're saying over here on the other side, what we spent the first part of the conversation talking about, was how thoughts become things. Right? So
Yeah.
prayer is focused thoughts. And I like how you said a lot of time they're asking for something. Right? So whatever your thoughts are your prayers, because you're actually in constant consecration with the Most High, meaning all your thoughts go to the Most High, or all your thoughts are prayers. So once you start to realize that every thought you have is a prayer, you might become a little bit more conscious of what your thoughts are and regulate them a little bit better. But like you're saying, when you're asking for the wrong things, that's basically however you got to asking for the wrong things. It's an example of having poor mechanics. You see?
Right.
So whatever you pray for is going to get answered and allowed, because you're attracting it. You're asking for it. The magnetics is going to bring it into your realm, and then you're going to receive it. And the only thing we can't control is time. So with that, right? Now that we've got this far with it, what do you think the dangers are? Because you're talking about, I got a little image here. Bam. You know what I mean? It's like a Wi-Fi system, right? You got your router. You think you're hooking up to the router, but then your evil twin system intercepts the signal, and the victim unknowingly connects to the evil twin router. Then it goes over to the attacker, right? And the attacker sends the signal on to the router. Okay? So think about that. Your thoughts are, if you're not in control of your emotions, if you're not in control of your mechanics of manifestation that we just went over, it's easy for someone to hijack your signal, to hijack your communication, to hijack your prayers,
Oof.
and then control you because you believe. See, that's the danger in belief again. You believe you're connected to the authority.
And that's what we got going on. That's exactly what's happening.
So now, if I can get you to think, oh, this that you see on the news is what the reality is, it's going to affect you emotionally. It's going to affect you what you give your attention to, and what purpose you have when you're giving that attention to, and you're going to inadvertently mix all that up in alchemy, and you're going to manifest something. But is it what you want or what I want?
Ooh-wee.
You see?
There it is right there. That distraction to throw you off of your game. You was trying to go within. You was trying to get your inner guru on. But then your emotions stepped in and threw you off of your whole inner guru. Now you want something else. Now you ain't thinking about what your intentions. You on something else. You on another program.
Right.
You on another channel.
Right. But you feel like and think that because your intentions are, when you keyed it in, right? When you keyed it in Google, you were like, how do I stop this from happening to us? Right? You keyed that in Google. A whole world of internet is on the computer, right? But what happened was you didn't realize that who was giving you the feedback wasn't the real authority. It was another authority that now is giving you that feedback to take control of you. And now I want, how many people are out there protesting / rioting? Not speaking on if it's good or bad, whatever. We're not going to say that. But how many people are out there because someone hijacked their prayers and told them that's where they need to be?
Right.
Now, how many people are somewhere else because someone hijacked their prayers and told them that's where they need to be?
Right.
And then, and then on top of that, how many people actually are really truly connected with the true authority, and they're right where they're supposed to be, doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing to provide whatever remedy, whatever input they're supposed to put in this masterpiece of all the perfection. You see?
Yes. You broke that down, yeah. All the way. There
And now,
it is.
thank you. We did it together. So what it is that we can't, and that's the same for I'm a man of equations, not the variables. So that's exactly what's happening. No matter what variable you put in. Okay, today you want to talk about protests or the riots, put that in. It's the same equation. Okay, tomorrow you want to put in why you ain't got the job you want in life, or your career you want, or your own business. Put that in. It's because it's all the same. No matter what you want to take out and put in that equation, that's the equation. And that's the power of your quote when you really understand what you're looking at it. And I really enjoy, or it is love, that the sun is in the background of that image.
That's right.
Attention and intention are the mechanics of manifestation. We got to get better with our tools.
We do. And
As
we
a
have
whole.
to get better at what we give our attention to
Right.
as well. Excuse me.
Yeah, because the willpower is also directly connected to self-discipline. So you gotta have the discipline to know, oh wait a minute, that signal ain't for me. Let me stay tuned in to the frequency I'm on. Go ahead.
That's right.
So this quote here I got on the screen says, expect to manifest everything that you want to manifest. The key there is, like we
Not
said,
believe it Know it.
Know it, and know that all of your thoughts, you're praying for, you're expressing that you want to manifest. So if a group of people were in a situation and they're focused on going to war, this is why, who was it? Was it Maya Angelou or Mother Teresa said, "Don't invite me to an anti-war rally. Instead, invite me to a pro-peace rally."
I don't know who said that.
I was one of them too. So think about that in attention or in respect or in reflection of. This is why words like that come out. In reflection. Reflect on this because it's an observation. See? So attention and intention are the mechanics of manifestation. So if we give our attention and our purpose is to go to war, you're going to find reasons to go to war no matter what. You're going to be attracted to all of the reasons to go to war, which is going to get you into a war. Right?
That's right.
So if your purpose, your intention, and your attention is set towards peace, you are going to see all of the ways to achieve said peace, even in the chaos. And you will land on peace while others are landing at war. Because you have a greater mastery of your mechanics of manifestation. You have not allowed your signal to be hijacked. You have put a cocoon. You have put I'm not even religious. I'm going to give it to you like this. You have put on the armor around your emotions, right? You have protected yourself from signal interruption. You have put a password onto your shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All right. So how you feel about all that?
That's what we got to be about. That's exactly what we got to be about. And that's what I've been trying to do, because just like everybody, we've been programmed. So it's time to really just set your intention on reprogramming with the truth.
Okay.
But then too, when you think about the truth, I would say is there. But what's true or for one person is not true for another person.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I agree with that. Now that is because when you really get down to it, I mean, the truth can't be won or lost. So what it is that there's the equation, but people are only focusing on certain variables. So then that's when you get in the context of arguments about, well, this is my truth versus this is your truth. When you really step back, you'll see that they're part of that same line.
No matter what.
Huh?
No matter you know what? The truth is, like, I can believe this block is red, but because I believe that it's red doesn't necessarily make it so. So that's another thing about belief.
Right.
But beliefs is what makes it real to that individual as well.
But that's the danger of belief.
And that is the danger of belief.
Because remember we talked about in the beginning, some people believe in their intention. You can believe in your intention all you want, but if it's disconnected from what your attraction or what you're giving attention to, you see what I'm saying? You can believe in peace. Your intention could be peace. And it's not to say that you wouldn't achieve it through war, but if you focus on going to war to get to peace, then you have altered the version of peace that you could actually be experiencing because you have the addition of the war to get there. So now, for example, let's just use the riots and the protests because it's current, it's on everybody's minds. It looks like maybe some places of that looks like a battlefield after they go through. And I'm not saying that there aren't good protesters that we're not. That's not the debate we're having with this. It's not even relevant to this discussion. What I'm saying is, after that wave of people moved through, you could say in some places it looked like a mini war zone, right? Because of their intention might have been well. The attention they gave was on unwell ways to resolve it. So even if they achieve it, you still have destroyed what you could have inherited. And now, at best, you must rebuild to begin your new piece instead of acquiring it as is. And that same energy you're going to have to take to rebuild, you could have been 10 steps higher up on climbing up the building staircase. And that's what's, that's a circle. So you got this far and then you tore it all up. So even to come back that same distance, now you're back in the same place that you were originally. When you could have just been, that's the difference between playing to win. They call it the infinite versus the finite versus infinite game. A lot of people are focused on playing to win, which is another, hijacking of the vibrations, right? Because what it takes to win is unsustainable. So when you look at that action, they are not going to be able to continue that action forever. One of two things is going to happen, or one of a few things are going to happen. They're either going to run out of personnel to continue the drive across the country, right? Like if it's a war and you're losing soldiers, you're going to eventually lose all of your soldiers and not be able to continue. Or if it's the destruction aspect that you feel is applying the pressure, at some point eventually you're going to run out of things to destroy. So what it takes to maintain that stance is unsustainable. I mean, it may be long out into the future, but it's really unsustainable. Now, war, when they get into like the U.S. and other countries and what we see, World War II and all this stuff, they have even greater mechanics of manifestation of war. So they don't need 1,000 people to walk down the street to wind up burning and leveling buildings and stuff. They can fly over one plane, one bomb, boom, level a whole city. You see what I'm saying? It's the same equation. So, if you apply that same intention on peace with attention to how to achieve the peace in the most efficient manner, then instead of taking the long way, we're going to go to war, we're going to tear everything up, we're going to hope that we survive, we're going to defend ourselves and engage with their opposing forces, and then hopefully we win the war, and then we're going to rebuild. You know what I'm saying? You spent 5 years, you just elongated your process by 2 to 5 years, right?
Right.
And now if I'm the opponent looking in on the outside, yeah, go ahead and do that, because by the time you get 4 years into that rebuilding, I'm going to give you something else that's going to have you tearing up everything. You're going to go right back to where you were 6 years ago. Like you never are going to progress, right?
Vicious cycle.
Yes. That's the danger. Go back to the hijacked signal. Hold on, where's that? My little picture. That's the danger of allowing people to hijack your signals. You feel like your intentions are being satisfied. You feel like you're manifesting what you actually want, but in reality, someone else is controlling your manifestation process. And it probably isn't going to be good for you or anybody like you in the end game. So the goal is to play, to be able to play forever. So what's going to actually give us that new space? What's going to actually allow us to manifest that peace is not a war, but to focus on these mechanics that we got wrong in the beginning.
Right. Come up with some new tools.
Or it may not be new at all. Go ahead.
That's true.
Because what you
way of doing things, because of the same things you've been doing haven't worked, then that means you need to try something else.
Right. And remember what you said earlier is when you're giving attention to, and you said manifestation, and you talked about bringing it into this existence, we specified already that it was already there all along. So when you look at like people speaking about, rights or something, right? It may have been there all along, but if you're user error in the system, you're not accessing what you. Go ahead.
If you're unaware,
Right. Go ahead. Speak on it.
If you're unaware that it's there, then it's not something that you can that can be useful to you, because you have no knowledge of that as an option.
Exactly.
Because all you have is the same stuff that you used to seeing time and time again.
Exactly.
Because you haven't even considered another method or another way.
Right. So that means that, go back to the word observe. Attend, excuse me. Because of what you observed, which is where attention comes from. All you know is what you've seen. Like you said, you didn't know of something else existing. You may actually have been wound up in the war because you didn't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
And what we need to do, and it's not just us, it's everybody. It's everybody. It's not just people that look like you and me, it's all walks. Because they're all being, or my little hijack signal, they're all having their signals hijacked in some way, shape, or form. I ain't gonna say everybody, because there's people out there that are well versed like this, like on a level of you and I and greater. So not every single person. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Because you get somebody out there in the comments like, but so the majority of people have their signals hijacked, like we've been saying, and they don't realize it, and they're puppets. Like you see the little commercials about the zombie apocalypse or something, zombie apocalypse games and zombies coming. Everybody's talking about, they're gonna make zombies. They're already here. The zombies are here. And then we pull up the magnetic brain. If I can control your thoughts, I'm controlling what you're actually focusing and attracting into your what you're manifesting into your reality. All right, so let me know where you at with everything.
If I can control your thoughts, I control your actions.
Exactly. Toy soldier. You see what I'm saying?
That is, you are the walking dead. Anytime somebody can control your thoughts and control your actions, you are a puppet.
Yeah. And then, so they're controlling, and then what are they going to gain? Like you said, ignorance. Ignorance is bliss. So it feels good until you see what it feels good. You know what I mean? Until you see what you actually manifested. You know what I mean?
Right.
All right. So let's get into the card. You got. So okay, go ahead and give me your.
What this card is gonna be? Yeah.
Before we do that, go ahead and wrap up. From start to finish. What we went over today, and put that in your own words and put that out there. If you had to tell somebody now, what do you think they might need to know to help them get to the point where, they can make a difference, so to speak? What would you tell them based off now this quote that we started with here? Attention and intention are the mechanics of manifestation. Let them know. RC.
So attention, you have to be focused on what you're trying to actually make manifest. You have to put your attention on it. You have to basically put your blinders on so that you don't get distracted from, like you said, people hijacking your emotions, and you have to be focused in on what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to bring forth. You have to see it, you have to know it, you got to feel it in order to bring it forth. And you can't let nobody knock you off your square, because that's where all those little, like you showed, the magnets, you got to stay focused. You got to put your attention on what you're trying to do. But you also got to put in the work. That's the mechanics too.
Yeah.
You got to put the work in. You can't just sit back and think that it's going to happen. You got to make it happen as well. Because you do have the mechanics. You were endowed by the Creator with everything that you need to make it happen. And we have to get away from thinking that we can't, and think, I can't. I have all the tools around me to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we had to reprogram ourselves with, because we grew up in, a lot of us grew up in, we've been looking, I'm not going to even go there, we've been looking outwards instead of
Mm-hmm.
in.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you have everything you need to make it happen. You just have to know that you can. Like you say, don't believe, no.
Right.
And that's why I love the movie The Matrix. Well, he say,
Okay.
don't think you are, know you are.
Yes. Yes.
You are the one. Neo, backwards, one. You are the one.
Yes.
You have a connection to the divine, whatever you might call that. You have a connection to the divine. You are a part of the cosmos. You are a part of the universe. So you are a powerful being, and you have to tap into that. You have to know that, and
Right.
we just got to get back to that. We just got to stop letting the things of the world distract us. I mean, we are human. We are on the physical plane, but that's a part of growth. Mastering, trying to master the physical, mental, and spiritual realm, because they all tie in together.
Exactly. All of those
And
are tools.
right, and you have to know how to use them.
Right. I agree. I
It's
agree.
a time. It's a time for everything. You
Yeah.
know, it's like when we have polarity. You have hot water, you have cold water. You can't say fire is bad, because guess what? If you use fire to cook a meal, but yet at the same time it will burn your ass.
True.
So you know what I mean? So it's just about learning, trying to achieve some balance, because it's a time for everything under the sun. For everything. It ain't always about peace. Sometimes it is about war.
Hmm. And you know what? Let me. I'm gonna add this to that, because a lot of people may have it misconstrued what I'm actually saying when I say, like, as far as, let's say, current events, how because you're not focused on peace, they may get it messed up. What I'm saying, the war is not the war that we think it is. Like you said, everybody's focused on external, because they've
Right.
hijacked the thoughts. The war is inside yourself. You are actually at war, not you personally, but we as a whole society have been turned to be at war with ourselves, and we don't even realize it. You see,
That is true.
and that's part of why you have the intention and attention mechanics manifestation disconnect, because you're at war with yourself. You're believing one thing, experiencing the reality of it, but you may continue to keep believing this thing, even though you're not manifesting what you think it should, and you keep going in that cycle. You're at war with yourself. That's insanity. You know what I mean? So you have to
Right.
then say, hey, wait a minute. Every time I do this, this happens. Maybe there's something different or wrong about what I'm doing. So maybe I need to, like you said, change. Maybe I need
Try
to change.
try love.
There you
That's what
go.
we need to do. Try love,
You see?
because everything. Um, I mean, when you turn on the TV, everything is about misery,
Mm,
victimization,
mm,
crime.
mm.
You know, the good things. There's people out here really doing positive things,
Right.
but they don't want you to see that, because they want you to reflect on the negative stuff. Because there, I may sound crazy, but there's some entities that's out here feeding off of all of that, and they done got fat in 2020, baby.
Mm.
They done got real fat, because there's been a lot of fear in 2020. COVID. Now we got these racial things going on, fear and hate.
Mm-hmm.
They feed, they
Yeah.
fat.
Yeah.
But if we reverse that, love is the highest frequency and the highest vibration. It's a reason that all they keep doing, all they keep feeding us is television, telling lies to your vision. They keep feeding you that
Mm.
constant
Telling lies to your vision. Television. God.
program. through, like you when you watch TV, just say your favorite program because you're being programmed through the propaganda that they're putting out here, and we believe it,
Right.
and you internalize it, and so I don't know. We just gotta. It. You know what? It was the COVID thing for me. It just made me reflect
Hmm.
on so much. It really blew the lid off of and made me see that a lot of this stuff has been an illusion,
Hmm.
and we've been just, you can really see it what it is. It is what it is, if you want to see.
Very true. And now they intercept the signal. They create the manifestation that they want. So with the
Mm,
fear and the whole all of that stuff, right? When you're saying you find peace and love, right? Love is a different grade.
yeah,
That's what love actually means, a different grade. So what you need to do is you need to have a different grade of mechanics, right? To control your manifestations. So they're getting fat, right? But we've expressed that they're not to blame. It's us that need to go inside ourselves and make the corrections to the code, right?
that's that's right.
That's why, like you said, the Matrix, they had the ones and zeros and the binary code falling down in the background.
Hmm.
So, so yeah, I totally agree with you on that. That's what's gonna make the difference. That's what's gonna. We need to separate ourselves from beliefs, get into knowledge. We need to go back and study certain things that's gonna actually be the keys and the authorities. Because when we go back to this picture here about the hijack frequency, you got the news. Yeah, the news is feeding you, but only if you sit down to the table.
True.
You go into Facebook groups, and they filtering. You know the the admins of the Facebook group is filtering posts that you can see in the group, so they're controlling you, right? Now,
Hmm.
the more that you absorb that, the more you believe in it, not know about it. Here's what happens: you form an addiction.
That's for sure.
You see, because we're not ever addicted. The addiction isn't to what we're actually introducing to the body, whether it's a chemical like crack or weed or the stimulus from the news broadcast. It's the chemicals our body produces in response to those inputs. The chemicals that your brain drips into your blood system and it travels through your blood. You know what I mean? Or other organs and create and secrete chemicals into the body. That's what you're actually addicted to.
Right.
So when you see that news broadcast, like you said, and they're only feeding you hate, war, misery, then you start to become addicted to it. So now, because they done hijacked your frequency and tuned it into something else, somebody could come to you with the greatest of great news, and you probably see this all the time around you, or having. There's always that one person, at least that one person. I call them professional haters. You know what I mean? Because no matter what you talking about, they can find something wrong with it because they're addicted to the misery, the hate, the conflict, which is war, the confusion. So no matter how much you spell it out for them, they're gonna find a way to be confused. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Cognitive dissonance.
Yes. Yes. That is what they're addicted to. So that's why you got to start. No matter what, the answer isn't out there. It starts in here.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get to this card.
We
Go ahead.
we got to get back to looking within, and stop looking for everybody else to have the answers for us. We got the answers. They in there.
Right. If you have the belief of the perfection of what the creator created, then you already have, like you said, all the mechanics, all the tools you need. You might need to develop the skills to use them. You see, we might need to develop certain skills, but we got all the tools already.
Just like the Wizard of Oz, when they finally met the Oz, they like this punk, like please.
The whole
And
time, right?
Good Witch was like, you had it all along.
Right.
You already had it. It was already within you. You just had to know it yourself. You just had to find out. But yeah, this punk right here, he ain't got the answer. You had the answer all along.
Now, did
You
you
was
see
waiting on somebody else to give you the answer.
Right. That's what we were talking about. That's what I was talking about in Big D versus Little D, destination versus direction. You see what I'm saying? You got certain people only tuned in and taking directions. They don't know that all they needed was a destination. But I also think what you were saying earlier about that makes you remember when you were talking about reprogram. I need the people that's still with us to know that everybody may not need to actually be reprogrammed, because like you said, there's a time for war. So we still need those war-minded bodies. You know what I mean? There's a time for innovation. We still need those scientific bodies and minds, because what we need to do instead of the word reprogram, we need to re-coordinate our destination. You see, once we agree on the same destination, all of those things come into line. So the people that are about war, right? They're giving their attention to war in preparation or with the purpose that when the time comes, they will be ready. Not just running out and going to war every day at every little moment. You know what I'm saying?
And into my vocabulary, re-coordinate instead of reprogram.
All right. All right. So let's get into this card here, see what we got going on. So it's 529. Go ahead and give me a number, RC.
Number?
Yeah.
My 6'9".
Think about what we feeling, what we went through, and just focus on that for a moment and let it manifest the number for you.
Okay. You don't want me to tell you the number, do you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you want me to say a number? You want
Yep.
me to tell you the number?
Yep. Let me know the number.
I'm gonna say 9.
9. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 9.
Now, before we get into the shuffle, why you say 9? What made you say that? Or was that just what you felt, or did you what?
You know why I'm saying 9? Because all of this stuff is coming to an end. Like we're in a paradigm shift right now.
I like it.
So 9 is about ending, and it's about when 9 is the last number on the numerology chart, and after 9 you go back, you're gonna have a new beginning, a fresh start. So I that's why I like that number.
Okay, so we're gonna do.
This is over.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Let's see what this 9 gonna pull out.
Change.
Okay, let's see what this 9 gonna pull out. 1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the 9 card gave us the moon.
The moon.
So give me a second here.
That's with the the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And if I know a little bit about the moon, that's like illusion. That's like finding out something that's been hidden.
So the old name of the card is actually Twilight.
Twilight.
Okay. So the archetype is the night, the kingdom of darkness. So what we want in manifestation, right, is you want to be enlightened.
Yes.
You want enlightenment, right?
Yes.
So the issue that we have going on here is like you said, the moon, which you said things hidden, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're in darkness. We want to bring them to light. So let's see here. Bodily mind is one of the signs of this, and the root tossing or milling backwards. Simple letter corresponding to the Pisces sign. So let's see here. The general meaning is secret enemies, danger, darkness, deception,
Wow.
gossips, occult forces, fickleness,
Woo.
prophetic dreams, and fear.
Damn. What? If that ain't said all, if that ain't what the hell's been going on, excuse my French,
Right.
then I don't know what is.
And
Because
if
all of that is up in the mix.
right, we
What's
just went over it, right?
going on?
Everything.
Yeah. A code means hidden. So all of that, and it's a hidden agenda behind all of this. That's what I think.
So I'm with you on that. And everything we just talked about in this video is summarized by the general meaning of this card. Secret enemies, danger, darkness, deception, gossips, occult forces, fickleness, prophetic dreams, and fear.
Yes.
And I like the first one. I like them all really, because, as far as what we were talking about, because the secret enemies. See, you can scroll down your page right now. Everybody talking about some sort of enemy, and ain't none of them said the enemy is within.
Wow.
So no matter what they were, no matter what they were thinking, they're still in the darkness, right? And it's danger because they're looking to attack an enemy that's really not their true enemy. On both sides. Due to deception and gossip fed to them by occult forces, because they haven't put any attention into the same knowledge that the occult forces have. They didn't have the intention or the purpose of understanding their own prophetic dreams.
Wow.
Because they had the intention, most people do. Remember we talked about it. They had the intention. So the intention is the prophetic dream. Yet they have not mastered the mechanics of, so they fall victim to secret enemies or occult forces. And they wind up resulting in being locked in fear, whether they know it or not. That's the summary of this whole video we did together. So let's look at events, right? Events are irreversible losses, fermentation, congestion, deception, and treachery. I'm gonna get that to you again, and then you speak on that. The events are irreversible losses, fermentation, congestion, deception, and treachery. Tell the people what that means to you in comparison to what we've been trying to say in this broadcast. Irreversible losses, fermentation, congestion, deception, and treachery.
Irreversible losses. The irreversible loss is the loss of lives. And not just from, going from way back when, from deception. Fermentation means something been stewing and brewing. And it's not something that just happened overnight. The deception, the irreversible losses, it's been ongoing. And it's being controlled by deceptive forces.
There you go. And then the congestion is you trying to push through something.
Think about the congestion.
Yeah.
Congestion can also mean it's to constrict. When you congest it, you can't breathe.
Ain't that the headlines?
So I think about this, to me, tied into what's going on right now. You put your knee on somebody's neck and you congested, you constricted the airway, they can't breathe. And we are in the age of Aquarius. It is an air sign as well. So just that's what came up when I thought about this. This is they said this is the age of Aquarius.
Right, where all the deceptions get brought to light. So
Yeah.
look at that manifestation. We talked about the hijacking of the frequency, the thought process, and how they embedding it. Now they can get down to just showing you a symbol that has a whole entire message in it that we may not even be aware of. So let's look at what just happened there and see how much it actually matches what we've been talking about. The quotes in the headline say, "I can't breathe." The t-shirts everybody wants to buy is saying, "I can't breathe." So they are focusing on, from the occult forces, delivering this play in front of them, right? This move, this gambit, a message of "I can't breathe" with your face attached to it, or what you think is your face.
Right. I'm not getting ready to put that on.
You see?
I'm not getting ready to wear that. I'm not getting ready to give power to that. Because
Congesting.
whatever you put your attention on, that's what you give power to as well. So I'm not getting ready to buy into that. I'm not.
Right, because that's you just define congestion as "I can't breathe." I really enjoyed it. This is love right here.
Wow.
So this is the energy. That's why I'm in love with energy. You see? So all right, so we got the events being.
What's the number on the moon card?
The moon card is 18.
18.
Mm-hmm. Which is 9.
9.
Right.
Damn.
Absolutely.
No way.
Absolutely. See, this is why I like these as a tool of mine. See, this is part of my mechanics in helping others understand their manifestations. Right. So look at this. The business and work is occult business, night works, risky operations, dangerous career categories, huge monetary flow, contraband, and illegal tourism. So you just said the news is the occult business.
Yeah. Yes.
The night works, just think about the nocturnalness, the darkness, the works done in the dark, right? We want to be enlightened.
Everybody else is asleep.
Yes. Now we got group.
Manipulating your life.
And that's why everybody's talking about they woke.
They awake and they manipulate you.
Yes. And at the same time, you have those on like us who are awake, and we're attempting to manipulate them as well. But our purpose or our intent is to manipulate them into freedom from the hijacking of the other signal. We're debugging. We're not reprogramming. We're debugging.
Right.
Okay. So then you have risky operation. That's a risky operation. You see?
Because everybody ain't gonna fall for it. Because that's what they hoping, that everybody's not gonna fall for the okie doke.
Right.
Because it is a lot more people that are starting to wake up. So
Right.
That's where it's risky, because they want to try to implement a plan, but they don't really know how it's gonna go for real, because everybody ain't falling for this nonsense.
Right.
It's people out here that know, like, no, we ain't going.
And you got your camo on already. Like, we're all, the people I keep around me, we're all the few, the brave, the Marines, like the commercial. We're out there freeing the minds. We're getting them off of Comcast, off of Time Warner, off of Spectrum, right? And we're giving them the internet. The internet is all you need. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a metaphor, but you get where I'm going with that. So we got risky operations on both sides, because they're risking the operation of creating the deception, and we're risking the operation of not even exposing the deception, but exposing the people who they really are, so that they don't fall victim to the deception. We ain't even gotta focus on the deception. We just focused on the people knowing the truth about themselves, the mechanics of their own being. Now, at the same time, the risky operation is the ignorance itself.
Yes.
The dangerous career categories, we can just say everything we said for the risky operations is the same thing for the dangerous career categories. Huge monetary flow. Those in the know are getting all the dough.
For real.
You know what I'm saying? So,
all the dough.
right. So we got contraband, which is all this propaganda being fed to you, right? We could call that contraband. So that's definitely in the mix with all this. And then illegal tourism. Now tell me, based on what we've been based on what we've been talking about today, how do you, when you hear illegal tourism, what does that stir up in reflection to what we've been discussing today? Illegal tourism.
Illegal tourism. You know what? I hate to even, but I can't not tie in what's going on out there to what we're talking about, because all of it is connected.
True.
And it's not just an isolated event. Like, this is being, it's a global thing.
Mm-hmm.
Illegal tourism. It's now you want to hear what came to my mind?
Absolutely.
About this, because I was listening to I don't know what I was listening to, what show I was listening to, but they were talking about how you got a lot of provocateurs out here,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people that's out here to just try to stir the pot. And dude was like, these people that they arrested, like, they wasn't even from the neighborhood. They just came to stir the pot, to try to cause a reaction. That's the first thing that popped into my head.
I like that because when you look into that a little further, they're actually not only, in a lot of cases, they're not only not from the neighborhood, they're not even from the city, or they
Right.
in most cases aren't even from the state, because you got to get into the crisis actors. They're being paid and bussed in to come and instigate and blend into the crowd. But see, again, that's nothing new. They've been doing that since the Roman days. The Roman days, the king used to, or whoever you want to call them, used to be out there. They had their little protests, and he would get his little people, hey, all right, go ahead out there, activate Operation Quiet Up. And then they go over there and start just tearing up shit in the crowd, and then the crowd be like, oh, that's not what we came here for, but yeah! You know what I'm saying?
Like the crowd.
Right, and now the king then goes, or whoever you want to call him, Caesar or whoever, but then he gets to say, oh, look, the people are now being disruptive. Now I am going to send out my army to slaughter them all. You see what I'm saying?
Chaos. They create a situation so that they can bring order out of the planned chaos.
Exactly.
It was all it's all a plan.
Exactly. So, and then the illegal tourism, I thought, it's a big focus right now on human trafficking, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happens if you can human traffic somebody without ever having to move them? See, because they're intercepting the brain waves, and they're putting a bug in the mind, and they're becoming zombies. So you just intercepted a shipment, a vessel. You just hijacked a vessel. You became a pirate of another's vessel altogether, and you've taken control with your risky business and your occult businesses and your risky operations and your dangerous career categories. You've now hijacked a whole vessel. On the sea, they would call that pirating. Oh, but then again, that's what they call when you intercept a broadcast or a signal. Pirating the radio, pirating the broadcast.
Yep.
So that's like illegal tourism. Well, I mean, that's what came to my mind. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
All right, let's see what we got here now. As far as relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Disappointment, expectancy, and sincerity, duality,
Oh my! Let me
hypocrisy, and solitude.
Woo! Let me say what when you
Hypocrisy,
first
excuse me.
said that. Say that again. Say it again.
Disappointment, expectancy, insincerity,
insincerity,
duality, which is why you see the opposites. You know, white, black. They're pointing this way and that way. The dogs or the cats, however you want to look at them. You know. All right. So you got the duality. All right. I'll start over. Disappointment, expectancy, insincerity, duality, hypocrisy, and solitude.
Man, you don't even want to know. Woo, if I said what I really want to say,
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Say it. Say it.
they ain't gonna like it.
But it's not about what. See,
You right. You
they
right.
addicted to. They addicted to what they. Go ahead.
You know, the duality thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's opposite poles.
Mm-hmm.
So in this situation, we can say black and white.
Easily.
What's going on right now?
Clear as day, right?
Black people, we fighting against the so-called oppressor, the white man. That's your duality right there. And then we got a lot of people out here, more than I've ever seen in my lifetime. We got white people that's out here protesting too.
Right.
But it ain't gonna amount to what we think it's gonna amount to. That's gonna be the disappointment, because at the end of the day, once they come with another distraction, all of this is gonna be forgotten. And
That's the setup.
black people gonna be standing by themselves once again. What was it? Solitude, by yourself. So, and it's not really, in my opinion. Why are they out there now? Is it because you want to release yourself from some guilt that you might be feeling now? Or is it really because you feel some type of empathy for the situation? I don't know. It's just
You know,
questions I have.
I respect that question, because what you're speaking of is, like, when you brought it up as duality. The thing about a fractal universe is every point in time and space that you focus on, the more you focus on it or give your attention to it, the more it expands. So what you're actually speaking of is, initially you brought up the duality, right? And then when you go into
Good and evil too.
Yeah.
That's on both sides of the spectrum. And
Exactly.
right and wrong. And
So-
right and wrong also.
Absolutely. Now look at what you're doing, or look at what's able to be done from that. Now, no matter which side you focus on, you're gonna find dualities in that side. And then no matter what dualities they break off into, each one of those also have dualities. And that's how the pyramid is always formed. So when you're looking at the iceberg, that's why they say the tip of the iceberg does not tell you nothing about the whole thing. See? So even though we're seeing look, matter of fact, here, we got two pyramids here.
Mm-hmm.
One black, one white. But each time that pyramid splits and goes down to the next level, it's splitting into its next set of dualities. If I could draw it out for you, it would be like the 1 point here, and then it goes down to 2 points, right? Then each one of those 2 points has 2 points that breach from it, which is then why you get 4 at the next level. So what I'm saying is, all the way down, that's basically representing the dualities of the duality to begin with. So to give the kid, not just to be truthful, what you call white people, they have always been, some of them, fighting on our cause. Just like what you call black people, there has always been some of them fighting for what we would say is the white people cause. So the only thing that separate people is thought process. Now, with time and space, you know, you may, and your more attention, you may be noticing more, and or they may have noticed more that actually gets them to say, hey, wait a minute, this ain't right, let's go out here and do this. You know what I'm saying? Let's stand with these people. Now, what we all must know is that it's not a black and white thing. That's part of the deception.
That's right.
It's an American
It's
versus
a
the
right
United
and
States
wrong
thing. Right. Which is really American versus United States. But it's not the fact that the United States is doing anything wrong, because ignorance of the law is no excuse. So if you tune into the broadcast, you chose that food on your plate. You chose that title, right? So we look at this disappointment. Like you said, expectancy. People are waiting for someone else to do something to make the difference for them. Insincerity. It's a lot of that. People, it's the duality or the what you were saying, how the trickery of the being programmed, but it's also the insincerity of one's belief in themselves or knowledge of themselves to receive the bugs in the program. You see what I'm saying? Then we talked about the duality, hypocrisy. That's hypocrisy is you got the intent, but you're not accepting that what you're giving the attention to is actually in conflict with what your purpose is, because you may not know no better. And then solitude. What's the solitude register to you from all this?
Solitude can be it's quiet. It could also be being alone. Uh, being also it can also be a peaceful thing. Not solitude is not always a forced solitude or a forced separation.
Mm-hmm. So solitude, what you're saying is, you can feel alone when you're wrong. You can feel alone when you're right because everybody else is doing it wrong. You know, so solitude is something that you're gonna feel in the mix of this, no matter where you're at. But you gotta remember, like you said earlier, you are the one, which is we're all part of the one. So that solitude is part of that that insincerity. It's part of that. It's part of that occult business. They want you to feel isolated and alone. They want you to feel, irreversible losses. You see what I'm saying? So with that, let's look at the health, right? Procedures of purging are necessary. Now, the tissue density, and then in parentheses they have tumor.
Procedures of purging.
Yes, because if you're going to debug it, the program, you're going to have to purge out the bugs from the program.
Are necessary because it is a tumor. What does tumors do if you don't have surgery to remove the tumor? They turn into cancers. Cancer spreads throughout the body.
And what you say, order out of chaos, and that's what? Cancer is chaos in the body, right?
Yes.
And the body could be anything. The body could be your physical body, it could be your household, it could be your community, your county, your city, your state, the nation. So they're causing a cancer in the body. The tissue density is changing up, it's forming a tumor, and it's spreading, it's growing. Precipitate on the partition of an intestine. Wow, you gotta break that one down. Precipitate on the partition of an intestine. You are what you eat, maybe?
Precipitate.
That's like the rain.
That's the right.
So on the
also,
partition.
Is precipitate also like to bring about an event?
Yes.
To precipitate.
Yes.
And partition. When you think about partition, that's also can be like a divider.
Right. Of an intestine. And you are what you eat is what comes to my mind when I hear that. Now, if you talk about what they're bringing about, you said, or to rain on, to bring about, to divide what you eat, basically your intestines, your osmosis, what you're absorbing into your body.
Your thoughts. Is what you absorb as well. So it's different forms of eating, not just necessarily what you put in your mouth, but what you put into your thought process.
Exactly. You are what you eat, whether it's mind, body, spirit, etc. The Trinity, right? Mm-hmm. So if they're controlling that, dividing it up and putting it on the plate for you to absorb, that's the health thing. Procedures of purging are necessary. Tissue density, tumor. Precipitate on the partition of an intestine. Fears, drug addiction. We just talked about how it's a drug. They're creating drugs out of your emotions. So psychological characteristics are consciousness, growth of the forces of subconsciousness, inner anxiety, carefulness, apparent lack of confidence, and reticence. That's everything we just talked about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the advice is, don't be afraid. Follow in someone's footsteps. Don't lie. Reduce wave, but stay on the flow. Don't diverge from a collective. Guard trade secrets. So the trade secrets, right? Look, go back to here. We gotta go back to here. Bam! Attention and intention are mechanics of manifestation. And what your mechanic don't want you to know is how to fix it, because you won't call them and they won't get paid from you. So they're guarding the trade secrets so that they can become valuable. That's occult business, but you didn't realize you in the occult too.
Right. Except for you don't know the words to get rid of the spell, to break the spell. You don't know the words.
And you're trying to create your own spells, but you're using the wrong words. Go ahead.
Right.
So the warning is, don't stay alone with difficulties. Bam! Solitude. Remember, we just was asking about how that ties in. Don't stay alone. If they're making you feel alone, don't stay alone with difficulties. Don't shrink into oneself. That's catchy right there. You are being cheated. Don't wander in the dark. Don't go into the world of illusions and hallucinations.
You know what? You pulled a card the other day. What card was that? You were talking about. It was the cups. It was the
7 or 6.
I want to say it was the 7 of cups. Oh, It was the Lord of Illusory.
Right.
What was it?
Yeah, 7 of Cups, Lord of Illusory.
Right. I don't know why that just came into my mind, but it's like you have opportunity. What are you gonna capitalize on? Because basically everything is not what it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got what are you gonna choose? And be careful what you choose, because it's not always what it seems. And then we go with the whole moon thing, deception.
Yep. Don't stay alone with the difficulty. So
that's why you reach out to people who are on the same vibe that you on. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I get from that. Don't stay alone with the difficulty. So that's why you talk to like-minded individuals, so that you can bounce. Iron sharpens iron. So,
yeah. Now who's in control of the iron that's being sharpened? Remember, if your signal's been hijacked, you're going to connect with people of like minds who's also been hijacked, and y'all going to sharpen that iron over there. And this is why you have the dualities and the conflicts of. You got the two sides, the two opposing forces, good and evil, and right and wrong, and all this stuff, because you got to manipulate it against those who are not programmed, right? So don't shrink into oneself. I really, really like this one, because if you're when we said the whole purpose of this is going into ourselves, and it's gonna be somebody out there that goes, yeah, see, if you go into yourself, you're gonna shrink and become small. But when you go into yourself, you gotta fill up. You actually grow inside of yourself. The problem is that you've shrunken in yourself and you become really, really, really small on the inside, right. And you feel insignificant and insecure. And what else did give us earlier? Insecure and apparent lack of confidence and inner anxiety, and you're dealing with consciousness, and you need to grow the forces of the subconscious, right? So you done went and shrunk inside, and now you're reaching for everything external to help you because you feel so small and alone on the inside. You feel like somebody else actually has to come in to save you.
I like the way you broke that down. That was perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We doing this together. So look, Then you have you are being cheated. That's clear in day. You know what I mean? You are being cheated. Don't wander into the dark. See, once you realize this darkness, you might need to get yourself a light. You know what I mean? Make you a stick, put it on fire, light something up so you can see. Huh?
Yep, so you can see.
Don't just keep walking into the darkness further. Right?
Right.
So don't go into the world of illusions and hallucinations. That's what made you think of the Seven of Cups.
Yes.
All right. So the result is deepness in self-perception, gossips, mistakes.
Deepness of self-perception.
Yes.
That's right.
And then you'll be able to expose and see clearly the gossips, and you'll learn of your mistakes. That's how I take that. What do you get?
Self-perception. The way you see yourself.
Bam.
And that's the whole key.
Exactly.
How you see yourself, because it's not about how others see you, because you have to see yourself as more than what people try to put off on you or project you as. You have, yeah. You know what? And I thought too about that Seven of Cups, because don't the cups deal with? I think the cups deal with the heart, don't they?
Relationships,
Deal
all
with
kinds of
emotion.
stuff. Motion, yeah. And I also
And
Go
and
ahead.
our heartstrings is being pulled. We've been led by emotion right
yeah.
now
Oh yeah, that's definitely the danger.
because
Now,
of an illusory. I'm not gonna say that this is, and I can say it's illusory if it's something that's been uh, planned, if it's been orchestrated.
occult business.
But right, exactly.
So look, here's what the 9 gets into, right? The
Hmm.
9 is selflessness and compassion, encompassing a love for all.
We just was saying that try love this time.
You got it. You got it. You brought it up. It came through you.
I love her.
It desires to apply its energy to universal service. It bestows an impersonal but just view of life. That's that get out of the matrix, get out of the program, and get that just view of life, right? And
Yep.
and I'm just gonna take that 2 words, just view. We know what that really means, but I'm gonna just look at the words, just view. When you just simply look at nature, when you just simply observe and just actually focus on what you actually see, instead of allowing the brain to justify what you want to believe out of it, that is just view, not
Just
tainted view, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So one that is generous, benevolent, and patient. See, when you're in a rush, you want to go to war because you want it right now. Instead of taking your time and allowing, empowering the people to see the truth so they can gradually come to terms. You want it right now. We're going to war. You know what I'm saying? All right. So this is the artist and thinker who has developed skills through the preceding cycles and is now ready to share his or her knowledge with the rest of the world. Mechanics. I'm going to read that again, and you think about the word mechanics under that. This is the artist and thinker who has developed skills through the preceding cycles and is now ready to share his or her knowledge with the rest of the world. Like I said to you earlier, you're able to do what you do in 30 minutes, not because of anything other than it took you years to acquire the skills and knowledge to be able to do that in 30 minutes today. So like you said, the ions are in their final state of completion. They have traveled the entire cycle of 9 parts, ingesting experiences along the way. Now, we were just looking at intestine. So ingesting, they have traveled the entire 9 parts, ingesting experiences along the way. So if you got someone dividing and controlling what gets put on your plate mentally or bodily, to ingest as an experience, then you have someone who is hijacking your emotions, your thought process. They're controlling your beliefs. You are a zombie.
That you are.
Now, in the closing cycle, they reach a total understanding and tolerance of others' views and prejudices. 9 is ready to give back to the universe some measure of what it has learned through the 8 previous steps of the cycle. The law of cyclicity allows for no waste and demands input for output. So see, that to me
but that intestines again.
Yeah, and the input and output means there's gonna be an exchange, an equal exchange. And when it said allows for no waste, that's gonna eliminate the whole. Okay, well, if we go to war, we're gonna waste 5 years getting to somewhere where we could just. We're gonna lose people. We're gonna waste people. We're gonna waste time. We're gonna waste energy. We're gonna destroy stuff. Is that necessary? Well, it's gonna take 7 years to get there that way. And our greatest scientists said that if we go this other route where we just give everybody a book to read up on all the stuff, they could take 5 years and acquire the same knowledge of peace that we would achieve if we went to war. Maybe we need to go this way instead. Because the other way is wasteful. We're gonna reduce waste. We're gonna become green with our approaches. We're gonna become lean in our processes. So, when this is done willingly, the completion experienced under 9 brings only joy at the gift of life and the freedom with which to enter the next cycle unencumbered.
Willingly.
Free will.
Right.
And ignorance of the law is no excuse. RC, it's been a great pleasure with you today.
Yes, it has.
I really appreciate you doing this. Go ahead and give a shout out. Tell the people where they can connect with you at on Facebook, Instagram, whatever you got going on. Because
I don't really have. I make jewelry, so I am on Instagram. I haven't really been doing anything lately. I've been doing a lot of crocheting with my little time, my confinement time, whatever you want to call it.
What's your Instagram?
Gemstone Mistress.
GEM? STONE?
Mistress, yep.
MISTRESS?
Yes, I have a few of my pieces that I posted.
Hold on, we can't hear you.
Just get at me on my Instagram page. I'm not really, you know what? I've really not been into social media until really recently.
Mm-hmm.
I have a thing about it, but so I have a few of my pieces posted on Instagram. I need to get back with it to basically get my little pieces, get my artistry out there. And I am on Facebook.
Okay. Well, I got your Instagram up there on the screen so they can connect with you there, and it's Rhonda Calvin.
Yes.
It's Rhonda Calvin on Facebook.
Colvin, yep.
Colvin, excuse me. Look, thank you for the clarity. So that's where they can connect you and reach out, because I see you posting stuff, and you got great posts like this one right here that we that actually we spun this video off of. And attention and intention are the mechanics of manifestation. And I took this picture back on the 5th as a screenshot when I first saw it. So I'm sure it has some more population on it now. So keep doing your thing and keep spreading the truth and message and enlightening people, because that's the purpose you're on. I'm proud of you, and any way I can help you continue that up in Ohio and in the people around you, let me know. And if you had another message you wanna focus on, then maybe we could repeat this if you enjoyed yourself. And
I do. I definitely appreciated building with you. This was nice. This is my first time ever doing something like this, so I was very nervous. So
okay, well you all pro now. you got the mechanics a manifestation already. You just gotta sharpen the skills. You got it. See? All right, we gonna go ahead and get up out of here. It's Pasha Pyro, YNet7. Thank you for choosing the replay.